Welcome to Screen Hollywood, the home of movie news and entertainment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Trailer views don't necessarily tell us whether audiences are genuinely excited or simply curious. I have to admit, I walked away feeling surprisingly underwhelmed. More multiverse storytelling, more world-ending stakes, more promises that this threat is bigger than anything we've seen before. And I found myself thinking, really? Bigger than Thanos? I have seen much better AI fan trailers than this, and I'm not joking. Because if Marvel wants us to believe Dr. Doom can casually absorb the full force of Thor's power, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do. Well, it's finally here. After months of leaks, rumors, production updates, set photos, and enough online speculation to fill an entire Avengers movie on its own, Marvel has finally released the first official trailer for Avengers Doomsday. And there's no denying the impact it has already made. Within 24 hours, the trailer had amassed over 50 million views, becoming one of the biggest trailer launches in Disney's history, according to Disney. On paper, that's exactly the headline Marvel wanted. The internet exploded. Social media lit up. Reaction videos appeared everywhere. Suddenly, everyone was talking about Marvel again. But here's the thing. Massive trailer views don't necessarily tell us whether audiences are genuinely excited or simply curious. Those are two very different things. Curiosity gets people to click. Excitement gets people to buy cinema tickets. And after sitting down, watching this trailer several times, trying my absolute best to forget everything we've heard over the past year, I have to admit, I walked away feeling surprisingly underwhelmed. Now, before the comments explode, this isn't a video about hating Marvel. Quite the opposite. I've been watching Marvel movies for almost 2 decades. I've defended films that other people hated. I've celebrated some of the greatest moments in modern blockbuster cinema. Infinity War, Endgame, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy. These films changed Hollywood forever. So believe me when I say, I wanted this trailer to blow me away. I wanted to feel that excitement all over again. Instead, I couldn't shake one overwhelming thought. I've seen this movie before. One thing we have to acknowledge, this hasn't exactly been an easy production. Over the past year, the internet has been flooded with reports surrounding Avengers Doomsday. Some have been credible, others have been complete fantasy. We've seen countless alleged plot leaks, rumored production changes, reports of additional photography, speculation surrounding rewrites, stories about ballooning budgets. Some of those reports have later appeared to line up with official announcements. Others remain nothing more than internet rumors. The truth is, very few people outside Marvel actually know what's happened behind closed doors. But perception matters. When audiences constantly hear stories about production issues, whether they're true or not, it creates uncertainty. Then came another headline that raised eyebrows. IMAX announced that Dune, Part 3 would occupy many premium large-format screens during its own release window, meaning Avengers Doomsday won't enjoy the same level of IMAX exclusivity many Marvel fans had expected. Again, not a disaster, but another talking point surrounding a film that already seemed to be fighting an uphill battle. Marvel suddenly finds itself in an unfamiliar position. Instead of dominating the conversation, they're having to defend it. That brings me to my biggest concern. I genuinely wonder whether Marvel is trying too hard to recreate lightning in a bottle. Let's be honest. Infinity War and Endgame weren't simply successful films, they became cultural events. Entire generations grew up with those characters. The emotional investment had been built over 10 years. You simply cannot manufacture that overnight. Yet watching this trailer, I couldn't help feeling Marvel desperately wants us to relive that experience. Robert Downey Jr. returns. The X-Men return. Legacy characters continue appearing. More multiverse storytelling. More world-ending stakes, more promises that this threat is bigger than anything we've seen before. And I found myself thinking, really? Bigger than Thanos? Bigger than a villain wielding every Infinity Stone? That's an incredibly difficult sell. Not because Dr. Doom isn't an iconic character, he absolutely is, but because we've already experienced what felt like the ultimate conclusion. Escalation only works for so long before audiences begin asking, where do you go after the end of the universe? As the trailer continued, I noticed something I couldn't quite explain. It wasn't the performances, it wasn't the editing, it wasn't even the story. It was the way everything looked. At first I thought maybe I was imagining it, so I watched it again, then again. Eventually, it clicked. The trailer felt old. Not old in terms of the characters, old in terms of the filmmaking. Visually, it genuinely felt like I was watching a Marvel trailer from 2013. The same enormous CGI environments, the same glowing energy effects, the same perfectly clean digital lighting, the same obvious blue screen compositions. Nothing looked bad, but very little looked new. For a franchise that's supposed to represent the cutting edge of blockbuster filmmaking, I expected evolution. Instead, I saw familiarity. I have seen much better AI fan trailers than this, and I'm not joking. Now, there have been reports over the last year that Marvel made significant changes to its visual effects pipeline and reduced parts of its VFX operation, although the precise details have never been fully confirmed publicly. Whether those reports are connected to what we're seeing here, I honestly don't know. But I do know this. When I watched the trailer, I never once forgot I was watching actors standing inside digital environments, and that's a problem. The very best visual effects become invisible. You stop noticing them. Here, I noticed almost every single one. There was one character that immediately reminded me why I fell in love with Marvel in the first place. Thor. Finally, he feels serious again. Gone is the constant comedy. Gone is the version of Thor that often felt more interested in delivering punchlines than commanding the screen. This looked like the god of thunder, a leader, a warrior, someone carrying the weight of the Avengers on his shoulders. Chris Hemsworth immediately brings a sense of gravitas back to the trailer. And then, Marvel gives us what is clearly designed to be one of the trailer's biggest moments. Thor unleashes one of his signature lightning strikes, straight at Dr. Doom. And nothing. Doom doesn't even flinch. It's undoubtedly a striking visual, but it immediately raised a huge question in my mind. Because if Marvel wants us to believe Dr. Doom can casually absorb the full force of Thor's power, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do. Thor isn't just another superhero, he's a demigod, one of the most powerful beings we've seen in the MCU. Dr. Doom is an extraordinary character in Marvel Comics, a scientific genius, a master strategist, a powerful sorcerer. But if you're going to establish him as someone who can shrug off Thor's thunder without moving an inch, the storytelling needs to earn that moment. Otherwise, it risks feeling less like awe and more like plot armor. Now, let's talk about the moment Marvel had been protecting for months. Our first proper look, and our first proper listen, to Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. I'll say this first. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the greatest actors of his generation. His performance as Tony Stark transformed superhero cinema forever. Without Iron Man, there's a very good chance the MCU as we know it doesn't even exist. So this criticism isn't aimed at Robert Downey Jr. as an actor. It's aimed at one very specific creative decision: the voice. When Dr. Doom finally speaks, he's delivering the Romanian-inspired accent that's traditionally associated with Victor Von Doom's Eastern European origins. And, I'm sorry, it completely took me out of the trailer. Maybe it'll grow on me. Maybe it'll make more sense once we see the entire performance. But based purely on this trailer, it sounded forced, almost theatrical. In fact, the only way I can describe it is this. It sounded like Robert Downey Jr. pretending to be a Romanian aristocrat after a few too many drinks at a Hollywood party. I actually laughed. Not because the dialogue was funny, because the accent didn't feel believable. Now, I know some die-hard Marvel fans are probably screaming at the screen right now, and that's absolutely fine. That's what film discussion is all about. But first impressions matter. Marvel knew millions of people would analyze every single frame of this trailer, every facial expression, every line of dialogue, every second of footage. For me, the voice simply wasn't convincing. Despite everything I've criticized so far, there was one moment, one tiny moment, that genuinely grabbed my attention. Steve Rogers, or at least the man we're supposed to believe is Steve Rogers. Ever since the trailer dropped, one debate has completely dominated social media. People keep saying exactly the same thing. Something doesn't look right. It's difficult to explain. It's not one specific feature, it's the overall feeling. He looks familiar, but not quite familiar enough. And that's where one of the biggest fan theories surrounding Avengers Doomsday begins. Some fans believe this isn't Steve Rogers at all. Instead, they're speculating that Marvel could be introducing Captain Hydra, an alternate version of Captain America from the comics, who secretly serves Hydra rather than the ideals Steve Rogers has always represented. To be crystal clear, there is no official confirmation that this is what's happening. Right now, it's simply one of the internet's biggest theories. But I have to admit, it's a theory I actually hope turns out to be true. Why? Because it would finally give us something genuinely unexpected. For years, Marvel has relied heavily on nostalgia, bringing back familiar faces, revisiting old stories, giving audiences moments designed to make them clap because they recognize someone. Captain Hydra would be different. It would create uncertainty. Instead of celebrating Steve Rogers' return, we'd immediately question everything we're seeing. That's interesting storytelling. That's the kind of twist that gets people talking long after the credits roll. This brings me to what I think is Marvel's biggest challenge. At what point does nostalgia stop being exciting and start feeling desperate? We've seen Robert Downey Jr. return. We've seen legacy X-Men characters return. Rumors continue to circulate about more familiar faces appearing. Again, some of those rumors may prove true, others may not. But regardless, the overall strategy feels obvious. Marvel knows audiences have become emotionally disconnected from many of the newer heroes. So instead of convincing us to fall in love with the next generation, they keep bringing back the previous one. And honestly, that's a problem. Because every minute spent looking backwards is a minute not spent building tomorrow's Avengers. When Infinity War arrived, we cared deeply about Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk. Not because Marvel told us to care, because we'd spent years growing with them. I didn't get that feeling watching this trailer. Outside of Thor, Doctor Doom, and what appears to be Steve Rogers, I found myself surprisingly disconnected from everyone else. And that's worrying. These are supposed to be the heroes carrying Marvel into the next decade. Instead, they're standing in the shadow of characters created over 15 years ago. As I reached the end of the trailer, I kept asking myself one question. What have I actually learned? The answer? Not very much. There's a mysterious threat. The Avengers assemble. Thor delivers warnings. Doctor Doom arrives. Massive battles are coming. The fate of reality hangs in the balance. Sound familiar? It should, because that's almost every Avengers trailer we've seen over the last decade. The problem isn't that Marvel is repeating story beats. The problem is that I never felt surprised. Nothing fundamentally challenged my expectations. Nothing made me think, I've never seen Marvel do that before. And that's the feeling I desperately wanted. Now let's return to the headline everyone is celebrating. Over 50 million views in just 24 hours. That's phenomenal. Nobody can deny it. It's a marketing success. It proves Marvel still commands attention. But here's the question nobody seems to be asking. How many of those people watched because they're genuinely excited, and how many clicked because they simply wanted to see what Marvel was going to do next? Those are two completely different audiences. Trailer views don't automatically translate into box office dominance. History has shown us that curiosity can create enormous online numbers. The real test comes when audiences have to buy a ticket. There have also been industry discussions suggesting Marvel has enormous financial expectations for Avengers Doomsday. Various figures have been circulated online regarding what the film might need to earn to be considered a major success, but none of those targets have been officially confirmed by Disney or Marvel. Whatever the exact number is, one thing is obvious. This movie carries extraordinary expectations. It isn't simply expected to succeed, it's expected to restore confidence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's an entirely different level of pressure. Look, I wanted to love this trailer. I really did. Marvel has given us some of my favorite cinema experiences of the last 20 years. Nothing would make me happier than seeing them return to the very top of Hollywood. But I also believe audiences deserve honesty. Watching this trailer, I didn't feel the excitement I felt before Infinity War. I didn't feel the emotion I felt before Endgame. I didn't feel the anticipation I felt walking into No Way Home. Instead, I felt familiarity. I saw another enormous CGI spectacle. I saw another world-ending threat. I saw another attempt to recreate the magic of the past. Could the finished film completely change my mind? Absolutely. Trailers can be incredibly misleading. Marvel has surprised us before, and I genuinely hope it surprises me again. Because nobody benefits from Marvel producing another disappointing blockbuster. Hollywood needs Marvel firing on all cylinders. Cinema needs Marvel firing on all cylinders. The fans certainly deserve it. But based purely on this first official trailer, I'm not convinced we've seen enough to believe lightning is about to strike twice. So, what did you think of the first official Avengers Doomsday trailer? Did it completely win you over? Or, like me, did it leave you feeling that Marvel is relying a little too heavily on nostalgia? And what about that mysterious Steve Rogers? Is it really him? Or do you think the Captain Hydra theory might actually have some substance? I genuinely love to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Screen Hollywood, and turn on notifications for more honest movie reviews, trailer reactions, production updates, Hollywood news, and original editorial analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.